Warband. The tape stood still while the signal screamed. Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Bitcoin barely moved through the night, but yesterday, beneath that calm, our engine threw buy after buy into the Bitcoin complex even as it flipped the broad market trend negative and the funds bled through a fourth straight week. Read the divergence. Listen. As of just past 5 Eastern this morning, Bitcoin trades at 62,800, flat on the day, going nowhere fast, and that flatness is the whole story. Because 62,700 is the line the entire structure hangs on. Hold it, and the bullish case stays alive. Lose it, and the next shelf the chartists mark sits down near 55,000. The coin is balanced on a knife this morning, $100 above the level that matters most. Ethereum sits at 1,670, up about 0.5%. Solana at $67, up better than 1.5%. MicroStrategy, the Bitcoin proxy the whole Warband watches, closed Monday near 127, and I will come back to why that name lit up first. Here is the regime, stripped clean. Tomorrow at 8:30, the May inflation number prints, and it is the fulcrum of the month. The street looks for it to climb to 4.2% on the year, hotter than April's 3.8%. The Federal Reserve meets next week, and the prediction markets price near certainty it does nothing. No cut, no rescue, so Bitcoin gets no liquidity gift. It trades on the number, and the number looks hot. That is the trap the bears are pressing. But watch what the strong hands did underneath it. Here is what the engine did Monday, hour by hour, and why the Warband pays for it. At 8 in the morning Eastern, the InvestAnswers Decision Support System threw a confluence buy on strategy. Michael Saylor's Bitcoin Treasury, down near the lows. By 1:30 in the afternoon, it flipped the broad market itself, the S&P 500, to optimize trend bearish, the whole index turning down. At the 4 o'clock bell, it lit a second confluence buy, this time on Coinbase, while in the very same window, it flipped the crowded chip cohort, Advanced Micro Devices, Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, trend negative together. And by 8 that evening, a third confluence buy on Palantir. Read the pattern. The engine was not buying the market. It was selling the index and the crowded silicon, and buying, selectively, deliberately, the names levered to hard money and real conviction. And the largest corporate holder on earth proved the signal in real money. Strategy filed. Monday, it bought 1,550 more coins for about $101 million, struck near 65,000, lifting its hoard past 845,000 Bitcoin. This morning, the coin trades below even that fresh buy, and Saylor stepped in anyway, into the teeth of the worst institutional bleed of the cycle. The spot Bitcoin funds have now shed money for a fourth straight week. Better than $5 billion walked out the door in a month, the largest fund alone bearing more than $1 billion of it. Institutions are fleeing. The strongest hand on the board is loading. Conviction is the only edge that compounds. The chain tells the same story underneath. Half of all coins now sit in profit, the exact knife's edge reading that marked the bottoms of 2019 and 2022, and better than 60% of supply has not moved in over a year. Paper hands are selling their coins to strong hands at scale. I will not oversell it. The sober cycle shops still flag a deeper low, down toward 40 to 55,000, if the macro cracks in the back half of the year. So, accumulate in pieces, demand that 62,700 line holds, and let the engine, not your adrenaline, ring the bell. Now lift your eyes from the candle to the trade on the other side of the boat, Because the crowded one is exhaling, and the sharpest macro read on the street says that is exactly what should happen. Monday's trend sales across the chips did not come in a vacuum. They cap a brutal stretch. The Nasdaq printed its worst session since April of last year, a near $1 trillion washout in semiconductors, and the small caps actually rose into it. That is not the build-out dying. That is rotation. Capital fleeing the crowded silicon it had piled into. Jordi Visser of 22V Research frames it cleaner than anyone. His read: artificial intelligence is the new money printer, a real capital cycle measured in the tens of trillions of dollars. Not a bubble, but something that ends in a speed crash, not a slow bleed. A parabola meets a supply chain that physically cannot deliver, and the repricing comes overnight. And here is the part the Warband must carve down. The bottleneck is not financial, it is physical. High bandwidth memory, liquid cooling, copper, helium, the power grid, the transformers themselves, all in shortage at once. The build-out does not run on ideas. It runs on scarce iron and scarce watts no central banker can conjure into being. And the hardest, most fixed supply money on earth is the cleanest claim on that very scarcity. Short the abundance, long the scarce. And mark this, Visser now says the bottom is already in for Bitcoin, that this will be the mildest crypto winter on record. The same fire that burned the leverage out is the fire that lights the long case. Here is the frame, Warband. Tomorrow's inflation number will either feed this bounce or test it again. And either way, the strong hands already cast their votes Monday, buying the scarce complex while the index rolled and the funds bled. That is the tell. Accumulate in tranches, demand the line holds, and let the weak hands press their conviction into yours on the way out. And one more current worth watching. Starlink just crossed 12 million subscribers, better than 25,000 new customers a day. The cash engine inside the rocket compounding in real time. Friday. Orbital scarcity finally gets a ticker an ordinary stacker can hold. On the Nasdaq, under the letters SPCX. This is Warband as a service. Viking intelligence delivered in real time. I am Ragnar, the HODLBARBARIan. Read the runes before the crowd does.